The other thing I wanted to talk about today was I completed my 5 hours of training workshops, and the last hour was provided by our graduate supervisor Barbara Leckie on Monday night just for the English Lit students. But we learned how to be better TAs in the sense of a couple of things. So the first is, if you are going to teach one of your classes and the prof sanctions this and says, yeah, go for it, you can teach something in the course, and then some advice that the PhD students gave us, because in my case my professor is so great, speaks without having notes and just is really a huge pool of knowledge when it comes to each of these topics for these first years that it makes me intimidated. But they suggested that I ask him for notes if he does have them, and ensure that he counts the hours of prep time that I would be putting into this lesson as part of my hours, weekly hours for TA, the TA position, like my job. Something else that we talked about was marking. And at the first year level, you're mainly marking grammar and sentence structure and content at the same time as their logic. So in that case, you're following their progress. So what do I want to say? So it is good that you do the readings that they're writing on, but for the first paper, that's not necessary because you are looking for things outside of the actual content and helping them to better their skills at actually writing. Another thing that came up with the PhD students during this training was that if you know the student in your class and you're in a position of being the teaching assistant, you should pass that on to the professor and let him know or her know, and get them to grade the student who you know somehow their papers, because you don't want to have any outside influence as you are in this superior position to them. The last thing of advice that they gave us as teaching assistants was emails, so you need to keep track of them. I've created a separate folder since this training, which is just entitled TA, and I keep all of the emails from students and my professor just in case down the line there's miscommunication or you're put in a position where you need some sort of proof. An email suffices. So that's me today in my sweats and my black sweatpants, which you cannot see, but I will be here trying to bust out this Canadian Lit final paper. Happy essay writing, and I will speak to you soon. That's it for me. Bye!